Def Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
Nervous as hell right now.
Satan and all shady are my enemy. I don't run from the fight. I'm not scared of consequences, because if you're scared of consequences, then that means that breeds fear, and fear means you gonna stop. And we can't ever afford to stop.
Check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024.
So Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a relationship.
Katt Williams warned us, nothing in Hollywood is real. Struggles are scripted, careers are bought, and pain is packaged for profit. But now, witnesses are finally speaking, exposing names tied to Diddy's circle. Katt Williams stuns at Def Comedy Jam 25. The night was supposed to be a celebration of comedy legends. Def Comedy Jam 25 brought together giants like Dave Chappelle, Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and Martin Lawrence for a nostalgic tribute. But the moment Katt Williams took the stage, the entire atmosphere shifted. He wasn't dressed like a man ready to chase laughs, he looked like a man walking into court with evidence. Instead of opening with a punchline, Katt's first words froze the room. "My enemies are not comedians. My enemies are Satan and the shady elites who protect him."
Def Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
Nervous as hell right now.
Satan and all shady are my enemy. I don't run from the fight. I'm not scared of consequences, because if you're scared of consequences, then that means that breeds fear, and fear means you gonna stop. And we can't ever afford to stop.
Check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024.
So Katt Williams.
It was a line nobody expected on a night meant for applause and roasts. The crowd grew quiet. Some laughed nervously, unsure if it was part of the act. Others glanced at the cameras, wondering if this would even make the final cut. For Katt, this wasn't a comedy set. It was a declaration of war. He accused unnamed industry gatekeepers of silencing creativity, destroying truth tellers, and rewarding only those who followed their hidden rules. His performance turned into something closer to a testimony than entertainment. Why would he risk it all on such a stage? For years, Katt had hinted at Hollywood's shadow deals, but this was the first time he said it so directly, and on Netflix, where millions could hear him. That made the moment historic. The industry had always known Katt was unpredictable, but this crossed into dangerous territory. Even Chappelle later admitted that Katt's brutal honesty was both terrifying and refreshing. Fans, meanwhile, replayed the clip endlessly, convinced he had exposed something far bigger than comedy politics. And here's the kicker: what he said that night wouldn't stay words. Within months, lawsuits and scandals began surfacing that eerily mirrored his claims. Katt reveals he's been documenting for 30 years. When Katt Williams sat across from Shannon Sharpe in 2024 and declared, "I've been documenting this for 30 years," people thought he was exaggerating, but he wasn't joking, and he wasn't bluffing. He meant it literally. For 3 decades, through arrests, canceled tours, and the Hollywood exile, Katt had been quietly building what he called his receipts. Stacks of journals, hidden hard drives, secret recordings. Katt insisted he had them all. And here's where it gets interesting. Insiders confirmed that he really did keep meticulous records.
Katt Williams being one of them. Take a listen to what he said to Shannon Sharpe on his podcast, and this is before the producer had dropped his lawsuit. Take a listen.
I'm quite likely to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. And I should make it clear that in this lawsuit, the reason why Universal Music Group is being sued by Lil Rod is because he alleges that it's them that is sitting at the top of this ring. So essentially, Diddy is working for somebody else, and that person that he named in his lawsuit was Lucien Grange. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a homosexual relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controls Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties. Essentially, that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. That is the takeaway that you get when you read this lawsuit. So how odd that rather than the media being unbelievably interested, as I was, completely seized by this lawsuit, as I was, rather than them asking questions about Fahim, asking questions about Lucien Grange, who's got a very interesting past, changed his name. I don't tend to trust men that change their last names, least of all 3 times, as his family has done, rather than any...
Often scribbling notes backstage or after private industry events. To most people, those habits look like eccentricity. To Katt, they were survival. Why would a comedian feel the need to archive like an investigative reporter? Because, as he explained, Hollywood wasn't just about talent. It was a game of leverage, and leverage came from secrets. Katt claimed he watched stars rise and fall, not because of skill, but because someone controlled the files on their behavior. This whole thing is a Mexican standoff, he told Sharp. Everybody got dirt on everybody, and the ones who play ball get protected. The statement sent chills through fans because it matched what many already suspected. The industry thrived on silence, fear, and hidden deals. Candace Owens later echoed his words, saying Hollywood operated like a gang, with rules you don't break. If true, Katt's archive wasn't paranoia. It was his insurance policy. And the most shocking part? He wasn't the only one hinting at this system. Actors like Terrence Howard would later describe how you lose your man card the moment you compromise. Once you gave in, you weren't free anymore, you were property. Now the question becomes, who exactly was Katt keeping these receipts on? The story shifts to Steve Harvey's involvement. When Katt Williams dropped Steve Harvey's name, it wasn't casual. He framed Steve as more than a TV host or comedian. He painted him as someone who weaponized his own family to keep Hollywood ties alive. That accusation alone was enough to rattle fans, because Steve has long projected himself as a family-first man, the polished face of fatherhood and Christian values. But Katt claimed the picture was darker. He suggested Steve's daughter, Lori Harvey, became a pawn in a much bigger game. Her highly publicized relationship with Sean Diddy Combs in 2019 wasn't, according to Katt, just a random May-December romance. Instead, he described it as camouflage, an arrangement that allowed Steve to mask his own deep ties to Diddy, going back as far as 2005. Think about the timing. Lori, only 22, suddenly linked to Diddy, then 49. Paparazzi captured them in coordinated outfits, dining in Malibu, even traveling together in Italy with Steve himself tagging along. On the surface, it looked like celebrity gossip. But underneath, Katt insisted it reeked of strategy. Why would a protective father accompany his daughter on vacation with a man twice her age, who also happened to have dated her ex-boyfriend's son, Justin Combs? The tabloids spun it as drama. Katt spun it as evidence. He said Steve wasn't just a bystander, he was complicit, using Lori's reputation as a shield to protect his own. This wasn't about love, Katt argued. This was about leverage, power, and survival inside an industry where family could be treated like currency. And if Katt was right, then Lori's romance wasn't scandalous because of the age gap. It was scandalous because it wasn't real at all. Kevin Hart's rise revisited as unnatural. Katt Williams didn't just call Kevin Hart funny, he called his rise suspicious. He asked the one question fans had whispered for years: how does a comedian go from selling out 200-seat clubs to selling out NFL stadiums in less than 5 years, without one viral clip, one classic bit, or one defining cultural moment? When legends like Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy exploded, their careers followed a rhythm. Pryor's Live on the Sunset Strip sold millions in 1982, becoming a cultural landmark. Eddie Murphy hosted Saturday Night Live at just 19, then dropped Delirious in 1983, cementing his place in comedy history. Their rise was rooted in unforgettable routines the world still quotes today. Kevin Hart? His leap looked different. By 2011, he was headlining Laugh at My Pain, a film that grossed over $7.7 million in theaters, an unheard-of number for a stand-up movie. By 2015, Forbes named him the highest-paid comedian, making $87.5 million in 1 year, out-earning Seinfeld and Louis C.K. Yet when fans tried to recall an iconic Hart routine, silence followed. No one could name the joke that launched him. Katt framed this gap as proof of Hollywood's transaction system. Success wasn't earned, it was brokered. Hart's story wasn't about grind, it was about deals. Some whispered those deals involved Diddy directly, with allegations of private parties where fame was exchanged for silence. The unsettling part, Hollywood loved Hart's relatable dad image, but Katt asked whether that too was scripted.
Low lights and moaning. You gotta be a baby oil professional. Now, most people don't have a microwave in their bedroom. I've installed one because I need hot baby oil at hand. Here's a couple of low budget ways to accomplish it. Run a sink full of hot water and just lay that bottle of baby oil in there for about 15 minutes. Turn it and let it heat up like that. Here's another way to apply warm baby oil. Take a washcloth, run it under the hot water till you can't stand anymore. Then wring it out. Then saturate the washcloth with the baby oil. Then take the hot washcloth over there to the bed. Then as you need it.
Is Rise a product of talent or a machine built to manufacture the illusion of authenticity? And if Kevin Hart's empire was built this way, what did that mean for every other star we thought we knew? Katt frames this as a system, not individuals. Katt Williams never wanted this conversation to be about one man. He said the problem wasn't Diddy, Steve Harvey, or even Lucian Grange. It was the system. A machine that stretched across music, comedy, and Hollywood, binding people with silent contracts, blackmail tapes, and favors no one dared refuse. When he called it a system, he meant a structure where every scandal connected to another. The music industry fed Hollywood, Hollywood fed stand-up comedy, and all of it funneled back to a handful of men who decided who rose, who fell, and who got erased. By 2025, this wasn't a conspiracy anymore. Witnesses started speaking publicly. Candace Owens described Hollywood as a gang with cameras instead of guns, where reputation became more powerful than bullets. Former bodyguards whispered about hotel suites lined with cameras, capturing hours of footage, later weaponized as blackmail. One insider leaked that Diddy's private storage allegedly held over 90 terabytes of footage, enough to destroy hundreds of careers overnight. The moment Diddy was arrested, the illusion cracked. For years, Steve Harvey played America's smiling moral authority, writing relationship books, hosting family-friendly TV, preaching Christian values. But suddenly, clips resurfaced of Harvey defending Bill Cosby, threatening Katt, and brushing off predatory behavior as misunderstandings. Was that just loyalty or strategy? Then came Allie Carter's testimony. She named Harvey directly, alleging she'd seen him in the same circles as Diddy. Security guards began confirming details. Yes, Harvey had attended freak-offs. Yes, cameras were rolling. And yes, some tapes dated back over 25 years. For decades, the media painted these men as untouchable. But once ordinary people online began piecing together timelines, the untouchables looked like prey. The walls are closing in on Hollywood's untouchables, and the next leaks could take down legends. Don't stop here. The story only gets darker. Subscribe now, like this video, and watch the next one, because the real Hollywood meltdown is just beginning.